Hello everyone! The third video in the Coding Mission Control series is here. In this video, we'll show you how to create a game in which you'll need to place objects into their corresponding holes. You will be using the joystick to move your character. Great! Now before we begin, let's create a couple of sprites. Click on the three dots at the top right corner and select Sprite Editor from the drop-down menu. Now click on the plus icon and put the following dimensions for your sprite: 10 × 10 pixels. Let's draw. You can choose the color picker to select the color you want and then use the paintbrush tool to place pixels of that color onto the grid. If you make a mistake, you can simply erase it by using the eraser tool as shown here. The paint buckets tool can be used to fill in whole areas, and if you ever need to select a color you already used, a color dropper is a handy tool for that. Now it's time to draw our character. It doesn't matter if your character doesn't look the same as mine. It's only important that you set the same dimensions for the sprite. When you're satisfied with your drawing, type in player as the name of your sprite and click on the save button. Now we can close the sprite editor. Let's create another sprite. This one will be used for the triangle-shaped object. You can follow the same process, set the dimensions to 10 × 10 pixels and draw a red triangle. You can name this one Triangle Object. Great! Now let's create the last sprite. This one will be for the triangle-shaped hole. You can set the dimensions to 10 × 10 pixels and draw a black triangle. Name this one Triangle Hole. Amazing! Now that we're done creating our sprites, let's start coding. First, let's create all the variables we'll need for this example. There's gonna be 11 of them. Now we can define some of these variables at the start of our code as shown here. Great! Let's move on to the functions. This first function will be used to draw the background and write the current score. You can name it Draw Background. The background will include the three holes we need to place our objects into. You can add the following blocks to define this function. Next, we need to draw our player. Create another function, name it drawPlayer, and put the following blocks inside. Finally, we need to draw our object. So create another function and name it drawObject. At the start of our code, we set the object's type variable to a random integer from 1 to 3. This value will determine the shape of the object and the position of the hole in which we need to place it. To achieve all of that, place the following blocks inside the drawObject function. Great, let's move on to the inputs. We'll use the emergency button to pick up and put down the object with our character. To pick up the object, we first need to calculate the distance between the player and the object to figure out if it's within reach. First, put the following blocks inside the when emergency button pressed. That's the formula for calculating the distance between 2 points in a two-dimensional space. Now we'll use the distance variable to figure out if the object can be picked up by adding these blocks. Great! Now we need to repeat a similar process for releasing the emergency button. Here, we need to calculate the distance between the object and the corresponding hole. If we place the object in the correct hole, we get a point and a new object needs to be created. To achieve that, add the following blocks. We'll use the joystick to move our character. Add the when potentiometer moves block and set it to joystick X. When the joystick is positioned in the middle, the joystick X state is set to 50. If we move it to the right, that number decreases. This means that decreasing the joystick X state should result in our character moving to the right. However, we first need to check that our character is not touching the right edge of the screen. The same goes for moving the character to the left. The joystick X state will increase, but we need to check that the character is not touching the left edge of the screen. Also, if the player is holding the object, that object needs to move with the player, so we'll need to define that as well. To achieve all of that, add the following blocks. Amazing! Now we need to do the same for joystick Y. You can simply duplicate these blocks and adjust them as shown here. Now we only need to add the loop forever block. Put the draw background, draw player, and draw object functions inside. Also, don't forget to include the scan buttons, scan potentiometers, push frame, and sleep 20 milliseconds blocks to ensure proper code execution. We're done with coding. If your code looks like this, you are ready to click on the Run button. Try moving your character with the joystick. When you get close to an object, try pressing and holding the emergency button to pick it up. Now carry that object to the same shaped hole and release the emergency button to drop it. Great! Now you can repeat this process to gain more points. If you want to put the stock firmware back onto your device, you can simply go here and click on the Restore Firmware button. Thank you for watching this video and stay tuned for more examples.